Hi, my name is Kimberly Stoner, and I'm an attorney here in Tarrant County. I'm also on the board of directors for the TCFLBA. Eva Barns was a real trailblazer in her time here in Tarrant County. She made a huge impact not only in Tarrant County, but throughout the state. She was licensed to practice law in October of 1932, in a time where there just weren't many, if any, female lawyers at all. She went on to become the first female associate district attorney in 1945. What was interesting about her time as a prosecutor is while she could prosecute cases, she wouldn't have qualified to sit on the jury herself because she was a female. Later, in 1962, Tarrant County created the Tarrant County Domestic Relations Court 1. Judge Barnes became the first judge over that court and the first female judge here in Tarrant County. Later, that court became known as the 322nd District Court. Judge Barnes served as the judge over this court until she retired in 1978. The Eva Barns Award was created to recognize attorneys for their outstanding service, leadership, and uncommon contributions in the area of family law throughout the state of Texas.
My name is Weir Wilson, and I've been practicing law in Tarrant County since the first Monday in November of 1969. But the main stories have to do with the fact that she was the first woman judge in Tarrant County and what she had to do to achieve that. You just didn't have a woman in a law firm back then. It was a real trial for her to gain the prestige that she did. Now, she was an excellent judge. I had the opportunity to try cases before her early in my career, and she did a super job. She was very strict about her courtroom appearance. Women could not wear slacks in her courtroom. They had to wear a dress. I wouldn't think about going into her office, even when she wasn't on the bench, and asking her to sign an order or a document without a coat and tie on. When she would leave the courthouse for the day, she was perfectly dressed and always wore her pillbox hat, the one that you have seen in pictures that Queen Elizabeth would wear. Oh yeah, she was some judge.
So she was licensed in the 30s. Back then, not a lot of women practicing law. I didn't know that's before your time as well.
Well, little bit, since I wasn't even born then, even though I may look like I should have been born then.
So what do you know of Eva's journey to start practicing law? Do you know any stories that relate to when she first became a licensed attorney?
Well, I know that she, just from what I've read, that she worked as a legal secretary and went to night school to become an attorney, and was the, I believe, first woman attorney hired by the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office. And one of the stories that they tell over in the criminal courts is that even though she was there prosecuting cases before a jury, because she was a woman, she couldn't even be on that jury. So yes, she blazed a trail there also.
It's incredible. So did you ever have a chance to practice in front of her? Do you have any funny stories of practicing in front of her?
Oh, I don't recall my cases of practicing before her, because she was back then, when she was appointed judge, it was known as Domestic Relations Court number 1. We had number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, and number 1 became the 322nd District Court. And no, I can't think of any stories of cases that I had. I can tell you that she supported the Tarrant County Family Law Bar way after her retirement, because her retirement was in, I think, 1978. And I can recall in 2004 and 5, in that era, when our family law bar was having our monthly luncheon at the Petroleum Club in downtown Fort Worth. And she would always attend with her best friend, Associate District Judge Pat Andrews, who was Associate Judge of the 324th District Court. And generally, we would all sit together, and at that point in time, I didn't eat the dessert, and she didn't eat the lunch. So I offered her my dessert, and oh yeah, she would go, because they had a wild assortment, she would go pick up a dessert and order coffee to go with it. Well, that coffee had to be scalding hot. And on more than one occasion, I saw her send the coffee back and ask them to reheat it because it was not hot enough. But she was very supportive of our organization.
Very cool. So you've been practicing in our community for a while. Have there been any past Eva Barns recipients that stand out in your mind and the impact that they've had on our community or the state?
Oh, well, you know, Judge Barnes was the #2 recipient herself. But, oh, I'm trying to think all the people in the years past who have received the award. And even though I didn't agree that we should have stepped out of our county to award it, the people even out of county who received it have in the Texas domestic relations were outstanding individuals and did excellent jobs. No, the thing, her continued, if I might, her continued support was she would come to our annual Christmas party on a lot of occasions. And she loved to dance. So I had the pleasure of dancing with her on numerous occasions. Well, guess what her favorite dance was? The Texas two-step. She loved to do that, and thoroughly enjoyed our parties. And I don't even remember when the last one she attended, but she did attend numerous ones after her retirement.
I'm Judge Judith Wells. I was the judge of the 325th District Court for over 30 years. And before that, I practiced law in Tarrant County Courts, family law, in front of all the courts.
Outstanding. Now, did you ever have a chance to practice in front of Judge Barnes?
I did.
Tell me about that experience.
Well, she was a visiting judge when I was practicing in front of her, so it wasn't consistent, but she was always very prim and proper and knew the law and expected you to follow it. And she was kind of intimidating. I remember I had a client who had gotten pregnant during a very long divorce by someone else, and then we finally got it settled and she wanted her divorce, and I said, I don't think this is going to go very well in front of Judge Barnes, but she wanted to try. And so we went up in front of Judge Barnes, and Judge Barnes was just, oh no, you have to wait until the baby's born. And but I was the one that was intimidated. My client wasn't at all. So, well, back then it was still very formal. Lawyers were expected to be in suits, men in ties, women in dress suits. Pantsuits were okay, but dress suits were preferred, skirts and jackets. And you didn't appear in front of Judge Barnes unless you were dressed appropriately. Well, she always could be seen on the street in her pillbox hat, and during the winter she had a fur coat. And she lived on the east side of Fort Worth, and you could see her walking. I would run into her walking into the Kroger with her fur coat on and her pillbox hat and toddling in there to get whatever groceries she wanted. And I also ran into her at the Luby's where she was holding court with gentlemen of her own age, and they were just having a grand old time. I respect Judge Barnes for the work she did for women before we came into the picture. She blazed a lot of trails, and she had to endure a lot in her career to get where she was, and she paved the way for me and many others, and I do appreciate that and respect that very greatly.
To the new recipient of the Eva Barns Award, congratulations, and welcome to a group of distinguished people who have made a real impact on our practice throughout the state of Texas.
do a video and then we'll just do a picture.
Eva Barns was licensed to practice law October 6 in 1932.